Welcome to Pro Practice, your guide to refine, enliven, and illuminate the piano repertoire. I'm Josh Wright, and today's episode is dedicated to the third of Liszt's 3 concert études, commonly referred to as un sospiro, which means a sigh in Italian. We have a lot of work to do, and today I've gone through over the last 3 weeks and learned this whole thing, got it performance ready, and actually performed it last Saturday. So many people have asked me to do a tutorial on this over the years, and I needed a beautiful lyrical piece for this concert, so I thought there's no better time. Let me just dive in and do this. And I have gone through and I'm going to show you today all of the different hand crossings that you need to do. I'm going to show you different fingerings that you need to do, pedalings, and other things to help you become as efficient as possible in your practice sessions. Let's go ahead and dive right in because there is a lot to cover. The first thing that I want to discuss is very similar to something like this Chopin étude. When you first start, you need to have complete control over the hands. In order to get that really nice sense of kind of background water color. So a couple of preliminary exercises that you can do. First of all, look at your hand position. I want you to think about slightly flatter fingers and pulling back ever so slightly on those keys. So each finger kind of takes the note. That's something that one of my teachers always said. He said, pull the sound from the piano, take each key. I loved that advice. Let's say that you're clumping notes like this. I'm going to do it without pedals so you can hear it better. You're kind of getting that very common issue I see a lot. The first remedy that I always give to students, very basic one, is just practicing finger staccato. So you're going to kind of just pluck the keys like you're plucking a guitar string. What this does is it activates the fingertip. It gets that moving. Most of the time when students start clumping notes, it's that their hand is more active than their fingers. Your fingers are the point of contact with the keyboard, so you always need to keep that at the forefront of your focus of, hey, am I releasing cleanly? Am I having very solid touch? Even if you're in a very soft dynamic, is your touch solid enough to take the key deliberately? If it's just kind of glossing over, you're going to get that mushy sound. So those are a few techniques that I like at the beginning. Another thing that I want to stress is the fact that this first part should not be stormy. Okay, I hear a lot of recordings do this. Then they go, sorry. Rather, I would have you start very soft. I love the title, a sigh. Just a little push, and then if you'd like to grow a little more on this next one, feel free to do that. Okay, now, in this piece, there are 3 staves, and he does that for your own convenience because he wants to show you, hey, the melody's up there on top. MS indicates left hand, MD indicates right hand. And the way I always remember that is, in most languages, there's the D, which usually means right hand. And I just remember that the Spanish word derecha, and I know this is Italian, but I just remember that. So D means right hand there, so the S means left hand. And I think with this first one, you don't even really need to take it in the left hand, because it's just right there in the right hand. And some people might freak out and say, oh, it's an étude, you have to follow it exactly. Yes, you don't want to start out the double thirds Chopin étude like that. You need to do it in the one hand. But with something like this, I think you should always go for something that sounds better. And even with Liszt's titling, I don't think Liszt himself gave these subtitles. I read up a little bit about it. It sounded like somebody else gave it to him, but Liszt never really objected to the subtitle of a sigh. But with that in mind, that seems more in control to me than crossing. So let's just go really slowly. We'll do right hand, and then we'll start alternating. Another temptation is to allow your melody to not sing out enough. I hear some students bring it to me like this. And I'm more caught up with that storminess in the left hand. So another thing that you can do is just isolate your melody and practice shaping it exactly how you want. So okay, and I sometimes like to do it all blurry pedal, just kind of gives it a more ethereal sound. Obviously, we're not going to do that in the actual one. Sorry, right hand, and then left, right, right. Okay? If you're really having trouble with voicing, I like to do kind of a crude exercise where I will do and just smack those notes. The reason I like this is it really trains your hand to feel where it needs to be brought out, and then you can gradually add the beautiful tone back into it. Again, some people would disagree with that method, but I like to go to extremes in my own practice because it shows me, especially if you're on the side of the fence of like not bringing it out enough, if you go way over here and meet back in the middle, it will help you get that. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about interpretation.